Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first country case study mini-series. In this series, we will give you an in-depth look at transitional justice efforts in a country, starting with its historical roots and ending with its present-day ramifications. We have specifically chosen these countries that can serve as a lens through which to discuss much broader concepts. Our first country is Rwanda, where we will discuss the genocide and the broader concepts of peacekeeping and interventionism.
To properly discuss how the genocide against the Tutsi came to be, we first need to understand Rwanda's colonial history, as well as aspects of its culture. Rwanda was initially colonized by Germany in the late 1800s and had a hierarchy where Tutsi were given positions of authority over the majority Hutu population. However, these designations under Germany were less ethnic labels and more so socioeconomic designations that were somewhat fluid. This changed when Belgium gained control of the territory after World War I. The Belgian government in the early 1930s worked to standardize and institutionalize the hierarchy.
This culminated in Belgium introducing a law requiring Rwandans to carry identification cards that designated them either Hutu, Tutsi, or Twa. A previously somewhat fluid label evolved into a more rigid caste system. The Tutsi continued to rule and be the wealthier group over the majority Hutus. Rwanda would eventually fight for independence in 1959 and achieve its goal in 1962. This effort would install a Hutu-led government, as well as causing a mass migration of Tutsi into neighboring countries.
During this time, a Hutu power ideology developed, where Tutsi were designated as foreigners to Rwanda, not an indigenous ethnic group. This ideology has its roots in Rwanda's German and Belgian colonization.
Now, these issues would eventually lead to the rise of militant factions. In 1979, the Rwandan Alliance for National Unity formed, consisting of Rwandan Tutsis in Uganda who fled during the War for Independence. The movement not only led to the toppling of the Ugandan government, but also included in its ranks a young member named Paul Kagame. For many, this group would provide invaluable guerrilla warfare experience that they would go on to use against the Rwandan government.
In 1987, the Rwandan Alliance for National Unity became the Rwandan Patriotic Front, with an armed wing known as the Rwandan Patriotic Army. The RPA would invade Rwanda in 1990, starting a civil war. Paul Kagame was studying in the US when the fighting broke out, but soon returned to assume command of the RPA. Interestingly, Kagame studied in the US Army Command and General Staff College in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas.
There would be intermittent violence between 1990 and 1993 when the RPF and the Rwandan president came to a ceasefire agreement in Arusha, Tanzania. The peace plan would have allowed for a transitional government and a demobilization plan. However, it was pretty unpopular amongst Hutu extremists, and the plan was actually never implemented.
Here's where the story gets murky. In 1994, a plane carrying President Habyarimana and the Burundian President Cyprien Ntaryamira was shot down, with all on board being lost. It has been tensely debated as to who is responsible. Some claim that Hutu extremists were responsible. Some claim that the RPF were.
Now, regardless of who was responsible, there has been continued speculation. There's been even recent scholarship trying to figure out who did it definitively. What is clear is that this was the inciting incident that would lead to genocide, even if the roots for a genocide were already there, and maybe even a plan for genocide was already there. For more details on that, come listen to our next video. Thanks and take care.
Thanks.